Hello, everybody, and welcome to the last live recorded Magical Learning podcast of the year. We will still be doing some for the next couple of weeks, but they are not going to be in this normal format. But I wanted to thank everybody that's been on the podcast this whole year. It's been a great year for us. And I especially want to thank the people that are on it today. So let me just start with John Scollin. First of all, John, thanks for all the topics this year. It's been really good. But beyond that, and there's applause on the video, absolutely worth it. But beyond that, how are you going?
Yeah, not too bad. I got a week left of work and I'll be glad when that's over. So I've got a daughter coming down from Brisbane on Thursday, so it'll be good to catch up with her.
Nice.
Awesome. And I also wanted to say hi to Grahame Gerstenberg. How you going, Grahame, our CEO? Thanks for being on the podcast so much this year. It's been awesome having you on. How are you going?
Pleasure, Jez. Thanks for organising them. I'm good. I'm excited about the fact that today is no longer Saturday, as it was when I first woke up. So that's a little disappointing, but yeah, excited about seeing you guys on Sunday.
Yeah, that'll be good. And for those listening at home, we'll be catching up on Sunday. So that's exciting in person. And finally, also to Danette, thanks again for being on the podcast so much this year. I just wanted to say thank you for that as well. And how are you going?
Yeah, hey, thanks, Jez. And thank you for organising all of them. So it's been awesome. Yeah, going really good. Had last workshop earlier this week and have my last coaching for the year this evening. And then we're having 2 weeks off. So practicing what we're preaching around self-care and having breaks. So that's awesome. Looking forward to today's topic. Awesome topic.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we're all, I guess, thankful that the end of the year is rolling around, and that is perfect for what we learned in 2012. I mean, not 2012. What did we learn in 2012? That Avatar's a great movie, probably. But what did we learn in 2021? So I might start with you, John, on this first one. What are some lessons from 2021 that you're going to take into next year?
There are two that come to mind for me, and one is patience. There's so much out there that you can't control, that you have no influence over, but it impacts on you. So have patience around those things. If you can learn to let go of stuff that you can't control, I think that helps to add to that. And the second thing for me is just that self-responsibility. There is, again, with COVID and being told you've got to go into lockdown, you can't do this and you can't do that. And when you go here, you've got to do this, that, the other. It's easy to go, well, the ministers have done this or the politicians have made us do that. Well, yeah, maybe, but how much of it how much of it is impacting on me, and what responsibility do I have around that? Rather than blaming other people for things, it's okay, I'm responsible for this, that, or the other. Let me control that and be patient around it.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like that's a good lesson for us all, the patience this year. Danette, what are some lessons from 2021 that you're going to take into next year?
Yeah, and for me, it comes to what John's saying, but also that whole mental well-being. So making sure that every day putting a little bit into our cup to be able to make sure that looking after ourselves, our mental well-being, because it's really easy to get stuck in, oh, this isn't working for me, versus, okay, what can I take responsibility? What can I do? And there are people out there that are absolutely, they're trying their best, and they need help and support. And I think the best way we can help and support ourselves and others is to look after ourselves. So the other bit of mine was around just looking after yourself, the self-care, and looking after and connecting with others. Super important. So they were my big ones for the year. And gratitude. Yeah, we're very blessed to be alive, be healthy, and have gone through 2 years that for a lot of people, they haven't been so lucky. So for me, that gratitude's super important too. Great question, Jez.
Definitely all good answers there as well. And I think, also everyone's been affected in some way in terms of their mental health throughout this whole thing. It's put pressure on everyone. So yeah, definitely keep yourself in a good place there. And also, Grahame, what are some lessons from 2021 that you're going to take into next year?
I think on the NRL front, get a new team, Grahame. We're a lot more resilient than we often give ourselves credit for. And I think, to some extent, 21 was a repeat of 2020. And at different stages, many of us probably felt that this is just too much, and yet it hasn't been. The other thing which sort of touches on the point that Danette made was around connection, and just how important it is for every single one of us to have, some relatively deep emotional connection with at least one other human being. Massively important in terms of our ongoing mental health well-being. They're probably the biggies for me.
What about you, Jez?
Yeah, well, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think I had written down something very similar to what Grahame just said then, creating meaningful connections. I think that's a good one. And I also had prioritizing mental health. These were both good things. And then I was just also, I also think about more things like I'm excited. This is coming to a question later, but I'm excited to try more stuff that is more along the lines of like kind of my dreams, like dream stuff, because this year has felt so sort of like compressed and weird. It's a good opportunity to come out of that. I've been thinking about a lot of stuff, so that's also been good. But I think, if we're just talking about all the different things that have happened, like patience, mental health, connection, all this stuff, it's all about just like really bringing everything kind of back to yourself in a lot of ways, and then going back out from there. I think these 2 years have really allowed us to slow down a lot, and then you can sort of shed all the stuff that wasn't important as much, and it's reprioritizing things that are just very simple. Patience is a very simple kind of virtue. Connection is something that's very simple, and mental health also is something that we often would forget back in the day, but now I think it's more important for everyone. So that's all great stuff. All right. Well, I might start with you on this one, Grahame. Question 2, what are some things that you're going to try in 2022?
I know there are a lot of people out there who would love me to say seafood, but that's just not going to happen. So let's move on from that. How about a serious answer? So one of the things, I was talking to Danette about this earlier today, one of the things I'm just going to say I've realised, but I've actually known about it for a while, is that COVID has given me an opportunity to just play safe. So the one thing I'm going to not try, but just do, is stop doing that in 2022. And the playing safe is literally just sort of hiding behind COVID. So it's just doing what needs to be done, but not really pushing myself or challenging myself or scaring myself by doing something that literally does terrify me, which does not include eating seafood. So that's it for me, is to stop hiding.
Yeah, great answer. I think that's a good thing for everyone to probably try after such a weird year. Get back out of your comfort zone. Danette, what are some things you're going to try in 2022?
So I'm going to write a book.
Yay.
Thought I'd put that on air, so then it has to happen, doesn't it? More regular breaks with family, friends, and enjoying that time. And in terms of work, we've got a few new partnerships that are going to happen next year, which is very exciting. So I'll leave that as a bit of a teaser, and we will talk more about that in 2022. And I think a little bit of travel, and I'm not sure what's going to happen internationally, but certainly domestically, there's a few places I'd love to go to and just chill out a bit. And the other one I had was I want to do a few more creative things. So I've been looking at things like glass blowing, a bit of art and stuff like that. So anyway, give a few different things a go. Thanks, Jez.
Yeah, also great answers. I think it sort of is a similar trend to kind of what Grahame was saying, getting outside that comfort zone a little bit, trying some new stuff. I think that's awesome. I love that for next year. John, what are some things you're going to try in 2022?
I'm not generally one to make New Year's Eve promises about the next year because they normally fail terribly. But one of the things I do want to do, and I think we've touched on it, COVID's allowed us to slow down. And I think if we're not careful, we'll fall back into the old patterns that we had pre-COVID, where we're just racing through life. So one of the things I want to actually do is just to breathe, to stop and just take that time. Whether it's get up to the farm, because, the farm that you guys have got, Grahame and Danette, is just, I think, fantastic. Get out there to nature, sit out in the backyard and just stop for a minute, and it doesn't have to be half a day or a full day or anything, but just for a minute and appreciate the fact that, I am upright and breathing. The sky's blue, grass is green, water's wet, and just appreciate the colours that are around me, or the smells, the sounds, the breeze, whatever it may be. So appreciate those small things more rather than getting caught up into that helter-skelter, because, look, next year is looking like a very, very busy year with a few things happening even in my side of the world. So if you forget to do the small things, you'll just race through it and miss it.
And I think that's a really good point, because I'm kind of looking forward to having quite a busy year next year after just sort of a more like insulated one this year. But I think having that in mind of wanting to slow down will be a good reminder heading into the next year, because for me, I do want to do more sort of longer term projects, and I get a lot of my energy as well from being in front of crowds, which has kind of been tough this year. But that's exciting for next year, and I think I'm also on the same page as you, Mum. I wanted to do more creative stuff. Even towards the end of this year, I started doing improv, and I'm finding I really like it. So I might do some more of that and stuff like that. But I think all these are great answers and stuff. So that's awesome. And finally, here we go, everybody. Heading into the year of 2022, if you can summarize how you want your 2022 to look, how would you summarize it? And I might start with you, John, here.
In a word, I'd like it to look adventurous. So whether that's with, doing things through ML, whether it's doing things with the carbon side of things that I've got, whether it's doing things, but recently I've been saying new year, new job. So to me, that's start of an adventure. If nothing else, I'll move out of the department I'm in, and I'll go somewhere else. But new year, new job. Let's be adventurous. Let's try things. Let's do something. The idea, Danette, you saying glass blowing, and my ears pricked up, and it's like, that'd be cool. Doing stuff. And appreciating that stuff.
Let's make that happen. Let's do a group thing.
Yeah, I'm up.
Yeah, and you'll get to keep a cool bit of glass afterwards as well, so that's not bad.
Well, it may not be too cool depending on how well you blow
it. Great answer, Danette. To summarize how you want your 2022 to look, how will you summarize it?
Okay, I came up with the 3 C's.
Ooh.
So connected, calm, and creative.
No, I love your alliteration.
So that sort of goes to all of those, and glass blowing and having a fun thing with the group. So do a whole stack of stuff. But for me, that calmness is really important, but the connection and the creativity too. So it's going to be a little bit like John's adventure. Just I want to make sure it's building those connections even deeper and doing a few more creative stuff, which would be awesome. So really looking forward to that.
Awesome. And Grahame, if you're trying to summarize how your 2022 is going to look, how would you summarize it?
The comedian in me wants to say Dragons 2022 on the winners.
Not going to happen.
I know, John. I know. There is an alternate universe out there in which it might. Actually, if I can just really not answer that question, because I wanted to just piggyback on what John was talking about earlier about taking time to sort of stop, and because one of the other things I wrote down for the second question, what am I going to try in 2022, was I actually wrote down finding more joy. And I thought, no, actually the problem with finding more joy is that it's sort of already there. So it's just recognizing it, which again comes back to John's comment about taking the time to stop and just be aware of what's around you. So for me, 2022, words I had written down, which are not illiterate at all, damn, were things like authentic, scary, which is getting out of my comfort zone, inspiring, and not surprisingly, I ended up with the word to sum all of that up was magical.
Nice.
That's a beautiful little,
Wonderland.
yeah, I like it. Very, very good, Graham. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I think kind of what you were saying there inspired me to think a little bit about, like I do want to be busy next year, but I also wanted to not just be like busy for the sake of being busy with new kind of stuff to try. Because I was thinking this year, I mean, in lockdown, there was a lot of just like social media, but I want to be less busy with just that kind of stuff and more busy with other projects that are more relevant to what I kind of want to get done, and also more creative as well. But you know, I think it's sounding like all of us want to, so that's an exciting thing for next year. I'm sure we'll embrace it. Well, I'm glad we've actually run a little bit under today because it is our final one. So why not give ourselves a bit of an early mark? So I'll just go around once more and just maybe get a final thought from everyone. Grahame, what are your final thoughts on what we learned from 2021?
So one thing that comes to mind is that, what do we call it? The Stocktail Paradox. So the story from Admiral, well, I think, sorry, was he an admiral at the time? I can't remember. Anyway, Stockdale was a prisoner of war in World War II from memory. And one of the lessons that he learned was holding on to a need for something to end by a particular date is setting yourself up for disappointment, heartache, and everything else. So it's like, you know, we're coming to the end of 2021 and we said a year ago it'd be awesome if COVID was done and dusted and we could roll out of 2020 into 21 and it'd be a whole new ball game, you know, wouldn't it be fantastic? It's still here and that's okay. It doesn't need to go away anytime soon. Yes, it will eventually because everything does. You know, there's nothing permanent on planet Earth at all. So we can just hang on to all of the other important stuff that matters to us day in, day out, which is people, which is connection, which is taking care of ourselves, and everything else will be fine.
Perfect. Great answer. Danette, what are your final thoughts on what we learned in 2021?
I think, and I'm going to use the magical here, I think that, you know, we've been blessed, even though it's been a tough year. I think there's magic everywhere, and our brain will want to go to the bad stuff, but there's so much magic out there. So I would say, you know, looking backwards, but also looking forward, look for the magic, follow your joy. And can I say to all of our listeners, thank you so much for being part of the Magical Learning Podcast. And I'd like to say a safe and happy and magical holiday break for everyone. So that's mine. Thanks, Jez.
Perfect. Yeah. I think we all agree with that. Everyone that's listening, have a great holidays. And John, what are your final thoughts on what we learned in 2021?
My final thoughts for well, it's more, what are you going to do different in 2022 is the question. I mean, people talk about, and Danette used the word, you know, 2021 COVID's been tough. I look at it and go, actually, it's been great, just slowing down. I remember photos coming out of India in 2020 where people could see the Himalayas from India for the first time in their lifetime. And you think, so that's a real positive that's come out of 2020, out of COVID. You know, we all had to stop. So are you going to go back into the old patterns that you had in 2018, 2017? Or are you going to do something different because of what you've learned? And the challenge is do something different. Yeah. Create something new and appreciate the fact that, has it been tough? I mean, you know, putting up with some of the people in my house, yes, it has been. But would I do it all again? Absolutely, I would. I'd do it 100% because it's the relationships, it's the people. It's the people make the difference. It's not the stuff. So yeah, do something different for 2022.
Absolutely. And thanks for that, John. I hope the one thing that you do that's different isn't stop listening to this podcast. However, we definitely want people to keep that up. I think it's good for everyone. But anyway, I just want to thank everybody that's been on the podcast this year. I want to thank everybody that's on the podcast right now. Thank you all so much. It's been a great year, and we've had everybody's listened to it all around the world. It's gone around to heaps of countries, and heaps of people have listened. So if you are listening to this right now and you want to get in contact with us on Spotify, you can answer one of our questions, or you can talk to us on social media. But I think from everyone here this year, I just want to say thank you all so much for this podcast. Thank you to all the guests, and thank you to the listeners.
Thank you, Jez.
Thank you, Jez. Yeah.
John.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes, happy holidays and take it easy. And have a magical holiday break.
That one. That's
awesome.
it.
Well done.
Well done.
Bye, guys.
Awesome.